We got Jen in the building. We got Logical Sparks in the building. We had a couple of people come in and they left immediately because why? They don't already see like 1,500 sitting in here. You freaking lurkers, don't come in. Leave. If you can't see the numbers, if you can get your little jerk off, leave. For those who want to be here, stay. Because we appreciate you none the way. Lurkers, be gone! Damn it, be gone! What's good, everybody? What is good? Welcome. Whew. I feel like it's been a while. Welcome to an episode. I am, of course, your guy, Resla. We not worried about the lurkers. They gonna come in. They gonna eyeball. And they gonna leave because they're like, I don't see 100 people in here. So I'm gonna leave because I don't think that my voice matters. But if you don't think your voice matters unless you see there's a whole bunch of people already watching, even though they could be bots, you don't belong here anyway. Be gone, flea. Be gone. Bitch, be gone. So, with that being said, I appreciate you guys for actually being here and be like, somebody already dipped already. Yeah, that's right. That's right, flea. Be gone. That's right. Leave. Anyway, thank you for you guys actually being here. For those who actually want to be here, for those who are not lurking fleas, welcome to the platform. As you, of course, know, I am your guy, Resla. I know there's a whole bunch of people. There's a whole bunch of people. Believe it or not, I'm surprised. I'm dumbfounded. I'm a little astounded, to be honest with you. There's still new people who are coming across to actually understand who I am and actually get the first time hear about me. And over here, we talk about critical topics, critical thoughts, sometimes things that go to the average person. I don't do. Let me burst your bubble right now. Let me burst your bubble right now so you can know whether you should leave or not. I'm gonna burst your bubble right now. You ready? You ready for it? Ready for it? If you're expecting me to be a reactor commentator, like I'm just going to sit here and bring forth a whole bunch of reaction streams, you're not going to get it. If you're expecting me to be a trendsetter and start chasing after all the DMP or as Cellulite Podcast. By the way, shout out to my guy, Cellulite Podcast. He just had his birthday yesterday. So shout out to him. Shout out to him. You know what? Do I have a drop for him? I feel like I should have a drop. I don't know. I'm really not. I'm not too good at this stuff. I'm not Resto Chesto, but I'm pretty far behind him when it comes to being the worst streamer. But shout out to Cellulite Podcast. He just had his birthday. We were celebrating a bit of his stream. And if you're here just lurking in the background or whatever, cool. You're gonna do your lurking. That's fine. I don't know what you think you're gonna find or what you think you're gonna learn because you can't learn unless you implement. You have to actually do something to say that you learned something. You watching and you doing nothing does not mean you actually learn a goddamn thing. You're sitting back, you're holding your meat in your hand, and you're being gay. That's what you are. Just letting you know. Cheers to you. But that's what you're being. Gay. So unless you actually do something with the knowledge that you get from anybody you're watching, you're not doing nothing for nobody. So slowly you get your feelings already hurt early into the stream. Get your little, you feel a feeling hurt. And we move from there. Now, if you haven't noticed what the actual topic is, I want to talk about something that's rather important. And today, if you're feeling inclined to, I'm gonna do this today. I am willing I'm willing to have a conversation with people. Let me say it again. I am willing to have a conversation with people. Now, hold up. Hold up. That doesn't mean I said I was going to be doing a whole open panel. Hey, I know. Chill. Hey. I know you guys who love to have your panels or whatever. Hey. Calm down. Quiet, you. God damn it. Go to that place if you want to be doing that. I'm willing to go have a talk, but we're not going to do that whole rambunctious shit over here, all right? Settle the fuck down. I'm willing to have a conversation about the topic that we have today, but we're not going to do all that dumbass, loudmouth, bull shit that you guys plan on fucking normally seeing when you walk into a lot of other places. So do me a favor. When you're coming in, you guys already see, I'm trying to figure out where exactly are we going to hit on the like scales today? Because this might be something you're interested in. Most of you guys are going to come in later. So just do me a favor right now. If you haven't figured it, I'm watching you.
Do it now, or I'll hunt you down. Smash like.
The shit is free. I ain't asking for no fucking super chats. I ain't saying no cash apps. I ain't even grifting you. Just hit the goddamn like button. It's the only price of admission. I didn't turn this whole thing to members only. It's the only thing that you can actually do. Just gonna keep it a buck with you. Anyway, on to the actual subject for today, because I feel like this is very important. I had a conversation with two, I don't want to call them boomers, because here's the thing. Because of our recent generations coming through, and I mean Generation Z and Generation Alpha, they label everybody who is older than them as boomers. Hey, I get it. No, hey, wait, hold up. I get it. We know we're not that. I hear you. I'm with you. I get it. We're not that. We understand the youngins. They don't really get it. They say everything. Anyone that wears glasses, anyone that's a little bit older, anyone showing gray, they just immediately trying to thumb down us. They don't fucking get it. We get it. Even though a lot of the technology they have, we're the ones who made it. All their little, we can't stand relationships, and we're fucking up everything on our little screens, and we're doing this and we're doing that, and we're having our soy milk, and okay, we're the ones who made it. We did that, not you. So sit the fuck down, Z's. Listen for a moment, because I need to have a conversation, right? Because even me, as a millennial, I'm a millennial, and even to Zennials, those who are a little bit, tad bit younger than I am, right? We go through things that we have to battle, have a conversation, and try to get a little bit of emphasis on conversations that people get a little bit lost in time.
Wait, what?
I know. It's not just you. It's not just you. It's not Alpha who's gonna call you an old head, who's gonna call you Unk, by the way. Because you motherfuckers is coming up in 20s, and y'all already calling each other Unk. Y'all are crazy right now. That shit is wild to me, to see someone 23, 24, 25, 26 being called Unk. It just doesn't make sense to me. It does not make sense to me. I am 43. Let me say it again. I'm 43. I got the gray hairs. And if you say, nigga, look old, it's because I was down on your mother. If you have a fucking problem with that, talk to your mother. Because outside of that, I'm fucking 43. And please think about it. Next week, I'll be hitting a whole new plateau. I'll be leveling up, folks. I will be 44. Let me say this again for you. I will be 40 fucking 4. All right? I'm going to be doing my thing. I'm going to be all up in the book. In fact, let's hit that real quick. How did Biggie say it? How did
Kick in the door, waving the 4-4. All you heard was Papa, don't hit me no more. Kick in the door, waving the 4-4. All you heard was Papa, don't hit me no more.
I'm going to be 44. And by the way, this is a big milestone for me. For me personally, it's going to be a big milestone for me because I am generally seeing a lot of people who, when I was coming up in my 30s and even my 20s, they didn't make it well into their 40s. In fact, some of the most prominent people that I knew started failing and faltering and even passing away around 42, 43, 44, and even 45. I don't know many people, whether it's celebrities or people that was close to me, that actually made it past that point. So I'm doing my utmost right now just to make sure that I could be able to be in a resting place to say that I can actually say that I can live longer than them. Because I can say that I've seen this in my teens, in my 20s, and my 30s, of people that I thought that would make it up with me that didn't. And then people who were well established and well older than me that didn't make it, who also had passed away. And now I find myself about to be older than them. It's amazing to me, to be honest with you. It really is amazing to me. Um, and then as I was having a conversation, not only with the younger folks, but also with some older folks, I was having a conversation. And I don't need to shout them out or anything like that. This is not a shaming thing. I know you like to walk around the internet and everything's about beef content. Ooh, Resla, when you go back in your replay, timestamp this part. You know what you're thinking about at this moment. You know what you're thinking. It just hit me for another topic. All right. So I was having a conversation, and whether Zers or alphas want to label people as, say, boomers or whatever, I say that it's relatively Xers or whatever. That there's a shift in time that happens for every generation, right? And as a millennial slash zennial, I will say that we came up in the best time, but also one of the most controversial times. And the reason why I say it was one of the best times, it was the worst times, it was the best of times, because while Z and Alpha came up with the internet already established, Xers didn't have the internet and didn't have the internet. And we grew up literally alongside the internet the entire time. The entire time. When something new, we got it. When something else came out, we got it. Was like Xers already had years ahead of them when they didn't have shit, and then they had shit. They can afford shit. We just kind of gave up. We kind of came up with everything being thrown into our hand. Lep, what's going on? What's going on, Leopard? Everything was just being thrown into our hands, right? And this is why I say, like, as someone who's the uh, millennial, zennial, yeah, they call it zennials. So zennial part of us, we kind of came up in the middle. So we have a little bit of a mindset of what came before, but we also have a little bit of a mindset of what came after. And part of the thing that we have to look at is also not just the tools, the technology, and the trades that happen, not just the political and the economical parts that happen, but also the mind frame. You know what we do here? We like to focus a lot on human behavior, how we look at things. And as I was having a conversation with two people who I'm going to just say are Xers, I'm not going to go out of my way and just call them boomers just because they're close to their 60s. Hey, folks, just because you're 60 does not make you a boomer yet. If you're crossing over into your 60s, you're not a boomer. You're an Xer. I know Z's, Generation Z doesn't quite figure it out there, so they just lump everybody into being a boomer. That's not what it is. So there are people who are crossing over as being Xers while the boomers are doing their last hurrah. I was having a conversation with, I'm going to say, a couple of Xers, and we were having literally a conversation that was going really nowhere because people just didn't want to let go of the simple fact that we were all at the same conclusion, but they didn't want to have the same kind of words that led to the same conclusion. So if I say, this is the way how it kind of went, and you could follow it. You could follow it, folks. I said, literally, from the foundation of how human beings work, from a chemical standpoint, from a biological, from a mental standpoint. We see something, we do something, we don't do it if it has a negative reward or it has negative connotation to us, and we follow things if it has a general good reward. So if we're told you're a good boy, you're a good girl, you tend to want to do that thing again. If you get pleasure senses from that, from your brain, you tend to want to do that again, whether it's dopamine, whatever. And then the argument was like, well, you're following behavior. Sure, but behavior starts from what is a good reward, a bad reward. The same way how you learn what not to deal with based on fear, right? It doesn't matter if somebody says it's a good thing. If you are fearful of it, you don't follow it. So these are just regular chemical things that happen with the human brain. And it's stupid that I have to even explain this, because we all know this. You and I, we know this, right? But we kind of have to get into it, because I want to get into the whole point of what I'm saying here, and you're going to follow me along with it. You may agree, you may not agree. You're going to want to cut me off, but I'm not going to give you the opportunity, because I'm a long stroke you. I'm gonna give you this work. All right, you gonna understand what I'm saying. Zoomer, what's going on? And then we're gonna get to it. And then if you feel the need to, we can have a conversation about it. Right. So as you can see from the title, what you resist, persist. Let me say it again. What you resist, persist. I want you to pay attention and keep that title in your mind. What you resist, persist. So when you're gonna hear me say a lot of different stuff, but I want you to keep the title of the stream in your head. I'm doing pretty good. I'm chilling. It's a pretty good day. I got a lot of stuff that I want to work on, but I also want to talk to you guys about a couple of things. And I'm not gonna say anything more than that. But keep the title in mind. What you resist, persist. Because what follows, a lot of people are learners who are more intentional, who are people who do the fewer repeats, people who are sharp and they like to do the whole cause and effects things in life, people who are less inclined to be in the argumentative lifestyle. We need to look at all these different people, because they all will follow the thing that's most important: how we think about things out loud. What you resist, persist. I got this slogan because I was watching phrase, quote, from watching a content creator. His name is Young Don. He says, "What?" It just hit me. I was watching one of his streams. I was just kind of sitting here looking at. I was kind of doing my thing, just kind of drinking. And he says, "What you resist, persist." And I was like, I like that. And it really came after the whole point. I was having a conversation with the two guys, and it made me think about this conversation that I'm bringing to you tonight. Now, to paint the picture, to broad stroke this, to bring you all with me, right? I was talking to a couple of Gen Xers, guys who I love and respect. And the conversation kept circling the same accusation. Let's put it that way. And there's a lot of things that I can say about it, but I'm not trying to point out traps and manipulation and wording, whatever. I'm just going to try to give it to you the way that I see it, because I can go down a lot of different angles, and I'm not trying to do that. But the idea that was trying to come down to the point from two people angling at one, yours truly, progressivism, not the same thing as progress, by the way. We can get into that. And if you need me to get into that, let me know if you need me to get into that. But progressivism and progress, quite frankly, is being the problem. Now, relationships are broken because of it, according to the conversation that I was having with the two gentlemen. One person even brought up saying that trans people exist because of it. And I'm like thinking, is it because of progressivism or is it because of progress? These two things, while they sound very much the same, are not. One is a matter of things and events that happen over time, and one is considered to be an ideology that is brought forth by a political party. And I think because they sound so much alike, people akin them as being the same thing, and they're not. And you're smart people. Feel free to take a look at it. Feel free to Google it. Feel free to go to a Merriam or a Webster's dictionary, whatever. Feel free to look up the context yourself. And if you even think that I'm wrong, feel free to let me know. We will have a conversation about it later if you're so inclined. I'm open to everybody. Don't think that you need to be a content creator. Don't think that you need to be whatever. Anyone who wants to have a conversation, you don't need to be on camera so long as you be respectful of the platform, and we can have the conversation. All right. To me, culture has culture has gone wrong because of this mix up between what we consider to be progress and what has been um progressivism. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting weird bots and ads on my kick stream. I was like, that threw me off. And every version of their solution sounded the same. I had two different men. I had two fingers. I had two different men pretty much running circling the same drain. We need to go back. When I countered that, saying, "Oh, we just gonna run backwards," we're not going back now. We're turning the corner. Turning the corner to what? To the way things were. So you're going back. What the fuck are we talking about here? You're going back. Turning the corner. You're talking about making 3 left so that we can end up exactly where the fuck we was before. What are we talking about here? And by the way, we're gonna crush all of it. I'm gonna get through all of it because this you're gonna find out where I'm getting to at the end of all of it. Tell me one time. This is a simple question I'm gonna ask to you. I'm gonna ask you guys. Tell me one time anywhere in human history where we went backwards to fix a behavior and it actually worked. I want you to think about that for a moment. When did we this same way? It's like inflation. When have we ever gone to see deflation in our lifetime? When have we ever gone back in time at any point and just said, you know what we're doing right now just ain't really working. Let's go back to the way it used to be. Not slow things down, not pause for a moment, backwards. And when I said that, there was no answer because there isn't one. It's never happened. Here's the point that people keep missing. And again, love these guys, respect these guys. But at some point, you get so caught up in narratives and talking points that it becomes your identity instead of you being open-minded to other things out there. Because you just think that the way things were and you say it is. But you can open your eyes and see the world around you and see that it's not that. And you can go, and reject it. But every time you open your eyes, it's still fucking there. Here's what people keep missing. Habits don't start as beliefs. Let me say that again for you. Habits do not start as beliefs. they start as loops. Habits do not start as beliefs, they start as loops. Something triggers you, you chase the relief, you chase the reward, and then you repeat the process. Dopamine, folks, is not pleasure, it's instruction. Dopamine isn't pleasure, it's an instruction. I think a lot of people get this shit so wrong. And because of instruction, it causes you to follow the path of least resistance. Your mind is not set up to give you a long-term view of how to become successful, as to how to become your best uh, um, self. Your brain is set up to follow the path of least resistance. If it said stay on the couch all day and just eat because it's better than going outside and dealing with the world because it's hot outside or it's cold outside, whatever, your brain will tell you that, because your brain is trying to keep you in comfort and keep you alive. It does not think about long-term strategies. It just wants you to do the thing that is easy and pleasurable. It does not care if something is traditional, if it's progressive, if it's moral, if it's degenerate. It only cares whether the loops revolve the actual tension that it's dealing with. If it does, it sticks. And when people say we're programming society, really? I think that they imagine this weird intention that's supposed to be taking place. But most programming is passive. You don't notice it. But I can tell you what does notice it, because you follow all the time. Systems do it. Incentives do it. Feedback loops do it. And most of us are not inclined or paying attention enough to actually see these particular loops taking place. And I know it can be really rough, especially I'm doing this on a nighttime where people just want to chill. See, this is why I love so much about the fact that mainstream TV is gone, because instead of you sitting there and watching Family Matters, which would have came on a fucking Tuesday night on the WB, so you could look at Steve Urkel. Tina ain't do that. Now you get to sit up here and you get to look at Resla, who actually has your fucking mind stimulated instead of seeing some bullshit with some motherfucking suspenders. I just want to let you know that, because I did it too when I was in my young age, and I said, fuck that. We can do better. We can do better, because a lot of people, I can really, this is why I said early, Resla, you got to remember this part. I said it before earlier. Remember this part again. It's very important. We can talk about this later. So we're talking about feedback loops that people get stuck in. So when outcomes start making people uncomfortable, instead of redesigning the system that we become inherent to being around us, what they do is that they reach out to the past. They reach out to yesteryear. That's not analysis, by the way. What they're doing is they're not analogizing. They're not doing that. That's fear. That is fear with their memories attached. It's a hold, it's a grasp, holding on to what was, to the good old days. Can't afraid to let go to what they're seeing in the present. And this is where arguments begin to collapse. People say, a person say, but let's not say it's just one person, because I know there's many people that feel this way. People say trans people are a result of progressivism. I'm gonna let you sit with that for a moment. Trans people are a result of progressivism. Think about that for a moment, folks. Now, there is trans people are a part are a result of progressivism, and then there is trans people are a result of progress. Remember what I said earlier? Progress is the state of which things are, and they're always moving forward, always changing. Progressivism is an ideology normally thrown onto the left, liberals, as to how an ideology is. And I guarantee you, if you turn around and even look at some of the things they're looking for, you're not going to find everything to disagree with, especially if you're a conservative. You're not going to find everything to disagree with it, especially if you're a person that believes in big government. But since you have so many people that believe that liberalism and even progressivism is an enemy, we're going to talk about that later, by the way. We're going to disseminate that. This thing, because it sounds like progress and progressivism somehow become intertwined when they don't understand the difference between the both of them. We'll get into that. So, okay. Then explain why suppression never worked. Come on. I, what do you mean? Resla, what do you mean why suppression never worked? Oh, let me get my glasses. I've got dust all over my glasses. I mean, let's just go through a little bit of history, why don't we? For people who are Xers, even boomers, even the silent generation, right? Because we're talking about trans people, but let's go back a little bit. Gay people were criminalized. They were shamed. They were dishonored. They they were killed. They were subjected to electroshock therapy. They were they went through drug therapy. They were imprisoned. And at the end of all of that, they still couldn't reproduce. Every level you could pull to erase a behavior, they tried. They pulled out all the stops. If and my thing is that if identity or if the orientation were socially installed for you guys, right? If these things were just trends, if these are the things that were used to stop, to pray the gay away, to medically induce, to electroshock, to even kill, murder, then why is it didn't work? Why is it didn't work? Think about it. They did everything they could, especially under the guise of religion, and it did not work. Which tells us something people really don't want to sit with. Progress, let me say this again. Progress didn't invent these people. Progress reduced the cost of these people being visible in that time. Let me tell you what survived. What survives is violence, shame, erasure. People attempting that this thing was it's not even a fad. Not a not the other word. FAD. They pretend that this thing is not something that should be constant. And here's the uncomfortable part for a lot of people. If suppression, the thing that was being tried, actually worked, if it actually worked, if you had been successful with, quote, gay people, then wouldn't that also mean that trans people wouldn't be here to complain about the bullshit that they see today? Because they already would have had the example of how you did gay people. But gay people are thriving and flourishing today, which means that all your attempts and efforts failed. All of a sudden, I'm not even hearing that gay people are the problem anymore. Now it's all trans. Now all of a sudden, people who are heterosexual forgot about the gays. Now they're just so focused on trans people. How did that happen? How we skip over gay people? You were so you people were so gung ho on gay people, and now that trans are here, you're like, we can't focus on gay people. Trans people are the real enemies now. Same panic, same framing, different target. This is not something that I would say is about morality. This is about escalation. There is a conflict model that explains this quite frankly and quite perfectly, to be honest with you. Because most people aren't debating anymore. I said this before, and I said this a while ago. Most people are not debating anymore. They're stuck in a win-lose scenario. They are stuck in coming into, leaving, joining, and breaking apart coalitions, losing face, and even hurling threats at other people. And to me, at that stage, truth doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to them, and it probably doesn't matter to you. I could tell you what matters to them, though. Control. That's what this whole thing has been about. Control. Monopolizing. Making sure that the majority stays in their favor. What's good, Penny? Penny, Penny, Penny. What's good, Penny? And here's my thing. Control is one thing that history has never allowed to last. Let me say it again. Control has been one of the single solitary things that history, evolution, progress has never allowed to last. I'll say it again for you. Because what you resist does what, folks? Persist. Resistance doesn't erase behavior, it sharpens it. It selects for resilience. It turns if anything, it would turn different into identity. I kind of look at this as the, how we call it, the Batman, the superhero, the escalation. Actually, let me go look it up. I could probably go find it, to be honest with you. How is this thing called? Let me go see if I can find it real quick. We're going to move into a little bit of philosophy, but also psychology. So, the last stages of conflict. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I normally don't do this. I normally do not do this. I normally don't do this. All right, let me move this over here. I'm going to do this. Let's see if I can find a window capture real quick. And well, that's not nice. Anyway, I'm gonna do this, and we'll do this. All right. I need to move this out. Hold up. Give me one moment. I can stretch this out. I need to stretch it in. To stretch it in. Oh, that's not it. Sense. Why it didn't work? All right, here we go. Here we go. So let's take a look at this real quick, and you guys will learn a little bit as to why yours truly gets a little bit of the understanding as to why he understands what's going on and why the world moves the way it moves. All right. So let's take a quick look at this. What this means is the cells conflict escalation. Anyone wanna see what's going on here? The reason why I'm labeling this a little bit different, I call it the superhero theory. Because in the superhero theory, the way how I learned this before I ever got to run across this particular pyramid, this, I don't know if it's a pyramid, but this threshold, this ladder, if you want to put it, stepping stone, is that I look at it in terms of Batman or in terms of the Avengers, right? But let's just scale it down to Batman. The only, or even say Superman if you're a Superman fan. The only reason why Superman runs across more deadly and more impressive foes is simply because he exists. Because he has to he has to handle or do a more extreme thing in order to beat his foes. And because he's so extreme, he gives birth to an even stronger enemy in the future. If Two-Face wasn't good enough for you, you got to get the Joker. If Joker's not good enough for you, you got to get Mr. Freeze or you got to get Bane or you get the enemies get tougher because you become more extreme just to capture the last person. Actually, here's the funny part about it. Any of you who are Dragon Ball Z fans, you'll know this as well. I'm about to make your day for you. Any of you who are not Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Z. How many times can you remember when Goku had fights and Goku died? Anyone remember when Bulma said to Goku, "You noticed how when all the bad guys really show up is when you're alive?" What did Goku do? You're right. So when I die next time, do me a favor. Don't wish me back. They didn't wish him back. He stayed dead. Chi Chi gave birth to Goten. His son Gohan was already still doing his thing, but Goku was dead. And the moment Goku came back to do a tournament with the whole Halo, shit went crazy. Some of you guys, in order for you to claim to want to be a hero, will do extreme things, not understand that you're about to create a larger problem, a larger, hence, supervillain for thyself. Resistance doesn't erase behavior, it sharpens it. You think your iron is the only one sharpened, but iron sharpens iron. Just because you look at that piece and you think it's weaker than yours, when you strike it, it's also sharpened. And when it hits you, you are also sharpened. Iron sharpens iron. It selects for resilience. It turns the differences into, I said, identity. And this is something that needs to be looked upon. But most people become so hypocritical, so ideological, so one way that they can't see anywhere outside themselves. Let me tell you this right now. Nature does not obey authority. It does not give a shit about what you want. It doesn't. It could not care less about what you see, what you want, and what you're thinking. You said barely in the audio? Seriously? Seriously? Oh, I hear audio. And that's the thing I think for a lot of people they don't really pay attention to. You said listen from my phone. Hold up. Hold up. Let me listen from my phone. Or listen from my laptop. I'll listen from my phone. Hold up. I'll take the suggestion. Do, 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 do. All right, let's see if I hear anything from here. I can still hear myself pretty good. I mean, honestly, even from my phone. No, to the point where I didn't turn off my damn stream from my phone. Shit was loud as hell. Um, and to me, a lot of people need to figure out their adaptations when it comes to being around things that, quite frankly, they just don't want to negotiate with. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean that it's not something that's going to become viable for the future. If you cannot unlearn information, you can't unsee people. Let me say it again for you. If you cannot unlearn information, you cannot unsee people. You can't shove awareness back into the box once the shit is open. You opened it. I also find it very weird that people are sitting there talking about the way how things used to be, turning a corner, going back to the past, when the very process of progress is what gave you the very thing that you're trying to hold on to and you think that we shouldn't let go of. When your parents and your grandparents think that the very thing that you're trying to hold on to was bullshit, but you're sitting there trying to hold on to it, sounding like the very decrepit folks that you came from. Let's really get into that again. And for some people who don't understand the difference between progress and progressivism. If you think progress is just always going to be an ideology, you failed because you fall to default. You fall to systems. You don't fall to intelligence. If you fall to systems to take care of you rather than you fall into yourself for awareness, for intelligence, then you failed. And this here is why I won't side not against progressivism. I will not side I will not side against progress because they're not the same. The same way how evolution is a sign of progress. The very things that they wish to hold on to, that they will came to understand as being the world that they cherish and love, was a sign of progress. It's not about ideology. It's about results over time. If human behavior, if human behavior could be hard stopped by force, by the way, if culture could be frozen by power, then would that not mean that my people would still be fucking slaves today? Think about that for a moment. Think about it. If that was a thing that was possible, if progress could be stopped, absolutely halted, my people would be fucking slaves today. I would be in bondage to fucking day. But we don't want to look at it that way, do we? It's only convenient when it's something that we want, not about the totality of how things are. That's that's not rhetoric. This is historical proof. Every system, let me say it again. Every system that claimed permanence eventually fucking broke. If you want to talk about Rome, if you want to talk about Chinese dynasties, you want to talk about even when you talk about these United States, it will become a thing of the past. Nothing in human history has lasted forever. All we can hope is that it lasts long enough, but nothing lasts forever. Not because they wanted to, but because the world does not answer to what you want as dominance. The world will do what it's going to do. Time will do what it wants to do. So no, just so I can put it out there for you guys who feel like, oh, well, look at Resla. He acting like a liberal. He is. I'm not defending any group, but I will tell you what I will defend. I will defend a pattern that history has already tested. Suspension has never won. It doesn't win. Time does. It's like water. Given enough time, water will seep its way into anything. Never, never has been a time where water has absolutely been repelled over time. And the people who are most angry about this kind of shit aren't protecting values, in my opinion. They're grieving their lost sense of control. They are grieving the days when they were able to monopolize themselves as saying that they were the dominant factor. They are monopolizing themselves a time that, quite frankly, even some of them believe were good old days that they never experienced at all. It's a story that they believe was great but have no concept of. By the way, not that I know, this is what my personal opinions are, but it's just something to think about. Now, for those who have been listening long enough, I'm gonna give you a little bit of time. Just a little, just a little bit of time. If you've been listening and you understand what was being talked about, don't even bother if you haven't figured it out. I'm gonna give you a little bit of time in case you have your point that you want to bring up on that. But I'm gonna ask you very pointed, very particular questions. I need you to be on point, and I need you not to take it off from anywhere else. Link is in the chat. I'm not pinning it to the top of the chat. Link is in the chat for those who grab it, for those who grab it. So what's it gonna be? I know there are people who are gonna jump up on it who don't have no fucking clue what's going on, and I'm like, you're not really gonna get it. There are those who do understand what's being on, and you might disagree, and that's cool if you do. But you have to make your point clear, because just saying I disagree and that's it ain't gonna help you. So what's it gonna be? And if not, that's just as good, because we can call it right here and now. It is almost midnight. Trust me, I can find things to do for myself. So what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? Come on. You said you wasn't ready for the world. What's it gonna be? Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you for that. Thank you. That's all right. And again, if you just popped in and you have no idea what the topic about, that is fine, because that means you also would not be prepared for whatever the hell we're talking about. It's absolutely fine, because I would rather have a conversation with about things that we're actually known to be talked about, and not just be all scatterbrained all over the place. This is the problem when it comes to particular ventures, and I'm not gonna really do it for mine. Either you're here for it or you're not. That's all. So if you don't get it, cool. No reason to touch the panel. I like that. It is what all. It's just shit like that. All right. I mean, quite frankly, this is the way it is. If you are someone who's trying to safeguard the past, but you really don't have any concept of the past, or you're trying to safeguard a very particular point of the past, not understanding that it had to go through a state of progress in order for you to even state that it's your past, when no one else, especially for the younger generation who have no clue about what you're talking about, to experience something that they will never experience because it's only in your reality. I hate to say this, but you're failing. You failed from the beginning. The whole shaking the fist, the good old days, does not help anybody. Even when I hear people talk, well, I think the progressive, that progress was bad. Oh, cool. So what do you have to try to fix that? Nothing. Nothing? Nothing. Do the world a favor. Shut the fuck up. Sit down. Stick a tampon in your mouth. Get cotton mouth. The problem is that too many people talk and have no solutions. They just want to say, this bad. This bad. Me no like. What do you want to do about it? Me no like. That's not good enough. Especially if you're a person who have had actual offspring. So you decided to put your genes on this earth and you don't have an opinion as to how you're going to help them? But when asked the very question, I love the way how it was for me. Okay, cool. Well, it's no longer your time, right? Because you're going to go at any point and your children are going to be behind. So what about them? I don't know. So you're just going to leave them to the belly of the beast. You're not going to do shit. You just think it's okay for you to talk shit and do nothing? How great you are. How great you are. How noble. How. I don't get it. I do not get it. I thought you came from a time where it said, if, baby, if you don't have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all. I thought you was raised properly. I thought you knew better. At, especially if you have kids, at least try. God damn it. I don't get it. At least try. Now I got hiccups. At least fucking try. Yeah, I got fucking hiccups. This is ridiculous. I've had hiccups like half the day. Jesus Christ. I don't get people. You you can feel good. You can feel high and mighty about bitching, but you can't feel so empowered to say that you have a solution. And yet you'll get online, multiple of you get online day on day out and complain, come up with no solutions, and ride the same narratives, the same talking points, the same viewpoints, and then say Jesus is gonna handle them. Well, fuck you. Because you have no solutions. And you still pass the buck to someone else. Ain't no one trying to hear that. Anyway, these hiccups are on my nerves. I'm gonna leave it here. I did we're gonna come back and come back with a vengeance. So I'm gonna leave you with it. And I'll leave you the next one, guys. Outside of that, thank you for everybody who showed up. Drift Band, you're in here late. Sorry. I'm just about to kick it out because I can't keep going with these hair hiccups. They're going crazy. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Later, y'all.